Okay, this is my video diary for Project Cafeteria. I did my Project Cafeteria in the third lunch wave in the new caf on May 15th, which was a Thursday. So I was really nervous about doing the whole thing because I didn't know how it was going to be received by the people. So I was looking around the table, I was looking around the room, and I was like, oh, I want to do it, but I want to get it over with, but I don't want to do it. And my friends were like looking around too, trying to help me find nice people to go sit with. And there wasn't a lot. I mean, everyone was in these cliques. And then one of my friends was like, hey, look, there's a couple upperclassmen. We don't know them. Why don't you go sit with them? There's only a few of them. There was one boy and two girls, and they were all juniors, we figured. And so I was like, okay, I don't really want to do it. But, they pushed me, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I finally got to do it. And so I go out, and the two girls, like right before I was decided to go over, the two girls stood up and went to buy food in the new cafe. And so I go over and I grab a chair and I ask the guy if I could sit down, and he said sure. So I sit down and I feel really awkward, and so he just turns to me and says, "How are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm good." And I feel really, really awkward, and I start babbling about the food in the new calf and how it was not as good as the old calf. And then I asked him if he was a junior, and then he said, "Yeah, I'm a junior." He said, "Oh, I'm a sophomore," and that was basically it. So the two girls came back. One of them was a blonde, one of them had dark hair. And the blonde kind of gives me a funny look, and so I turned to her. I'm like, "Hi, my name is Liz. I'm a sophomore. I'm just going to be sitting here for a few minutes." She said, "Okay." And the dark haired girl just kind of gives me a funny look and walks off. Well, not walks off, but sits down, and yeah. So they just kind of carry on a conversation between themselves, sometimes looking at me, giving me like this confused glance that says like, "Well, why are you sitting here?" And I just kind of sat there and didn't really say anything. Felt really awkward. How did it make me feel? Well, it made me feel really, really awkward. It made me feel weird and uncomfortable because normally I'm a pretty outgoing person, but as soon as I was put into a situation where I didn't know anyone and they were ignoring me, I felt terrible actually. It was this horrible feeling. I didn't know what was going to happen, how they were going to react to me, or if any time at all they would turn to me and be like, "Why don't you go?" Or "Can you just leave because we don't want you here?" So yeah, that wasn't very good. How do I think it made those at the table feel? Well, I know they were really hesitant to go on with their normal conversations when I sat down, when I was there. So they were just kind of sat there in silence, and the girls eating the food that they bought, and the guy just kind of scrolling on his phone. So everyone was on their phones. And I just felt really weird because I didn't have my phone. So I just kind of sat there twiddling my thumbs, being like, "Okay, what now? What do I do?" But I think it made them feel a little awkward as well, but after a while they got used to me being there, like after a few minutes they just got over it. How was I received? I think it was pretty positive. I mean, I think it was neutral, really, because they really didn't care if I was there or not. They weren't like, "Oh, great, this new person here," and they weren't like, "Get out, we don't want you here." They just kind of let me sit there with them, didn't really say anything. I thought it happened because they were just as awkward as I was. They didn't know who I was, and I was sitting down with them, but they also knew each other, so they had some comfort, and like this was weird for all of them, and this was just a new situation for me. I didn't have anyone on my side of the court. What I learned from this activity? To be nicer to people when they sit down with you at lunch, that's for sure, because they feel really awkward. But I also learned that, like, upperclassmen would, like the ones I sat with, were a lot different than if I thought I sat with freshmen. Sat with freshmen, I think they would be all like, "Oh, well, who are you? We want to know all about you because you're older." And because I was younger, they were just kind of like, "Oh, let her be." Uh, well, I think they were relatively friendly. I mean, the guy tried to be friendly on me with one-on-one. I mean, he was trying to make conversation. I was just babbling like an idiot, but I was really nervous. I think I really just learned to be nicer to people and accept them because they really feel awkward. It's important to make people feel like they're accepted and not to like treat them as outcasts or treat them like they're not even there. So that's my project Cafeteria. Overall, pretty good experience. I mean, very educational. I mean, I learned a lot. Little hesitant to do it at first, but I think it was worth it.